Good evening. I want to welcome you all to the second annual Flash Starts Demo Day. And tonight, as promised, you will see 12 startups live here on stage. But before they come out and tell you all about their companies, I want to take a few minutes and tell you a little bit about our program and this event. First, a little bit about where we are tonight. We're pleased to be here in the Allen Theater, right in the heart of Playhouse Square. Playhouse Square represents a great era in the history of Cleveland. When Playhouse Square was built in the early 1920s, Cleveland was the 5th largest city in the US. The Cleveland Clinic was established, and the Indians had just won the World Series. We are on the cusp of the next great era for the history of Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. And that's fueled in part by the growing entrepreneurial ecosystem that is alive right here in downtown Cleveland. So what better place to have our annual demo day than here in the Allen Theater in the heart of Playhouse Square. We were thinking about who we could have come and speak to you all and help us all recognize the significance of this demo day. And we thought, what better way to, who better to kick off and help pay witness to our demo day than our very own LeBron James. So, not surprisingly, we couldn't afford LeBron's full appearance fee, but he is here, and he wishes all of our startups good luck tonight. I want to start by thanking our sponsors who've generously supported our program in this event. And they've demonstrated that they too believe in Cleveland and the power of entrepreneurship in this region. For those of you that are not familiar with our model, I want to tell you a little bit about our program. At Flash Starts, we're in the business of manufacturing software startups. The raw materials into this process are people, ideas, and capital. And so we start by finding the 12 best entrepreneurs with the best ideas here in Northeast Ohio. We give them $25,000, and we put them through a 12-week intensive program. To find those 12 teams, we dove into Northeast Ohio's deep resources of people and talent and ideas. Every year here in Northeast Ohio, we have 250,000 students graduating from local universities. And we work closely with these universities to find the best entrepreneurs that were graduating from them. We also held and sponsored and attended a series of events from open pitch nights to startup weekends to hackathons. The result was that we created a deep pipeline of startups and entrepreneurs. We reviewed over 300 ideas to select the 12 best. And just a note about the 12 that you'll see tonight. These are world-class entrepreneurs with amazing ideas. They have deep expertise, they are highly technical, and they are competitive on a national stage. So we selected these 12 teams and put them through this 12-week program where we focused on rapid iteration and getting market traction. A key accelerant of our program is our award-winning internship program. And I want to thank Jody Marshowitz, who successfully led this program for the second year. She did a superb job and reviewed over 400 resumes to select the 20 best. And these truly were the 20 best. I don't know what all of you were doing when you were rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors in college, but I can tell you that these interns this year really put what I was doing to shame. So thank you to our interns as well. And finally, we rely on the support and involvement of over 50 mentors who work with our teams throughout the course of the summer. So thank you to all of our mentors for your continued involvement. All of this amounts to over 500 hours of diligence in support of our entrepreneurs as they build their businesses. I want to give you a bit more color on what this summer looked like. We started back in May by telling our entrepreneurs that this would be the hardest they'd ever worked. And that was the case. We started in May with ideas in vaporware. And throughout the course of the summer, we had days filled with high-order math, impromptu hackathons, cold calls. We had daily stand-ups and weekly sprints. Companies launched their MVPs, their betas, and secured paying customers. We had demos with leading universities and brand name companies, and even the White House. We had pilots that were filled in less than a month, companies that had multiple sales in one day, and even international sales. There were trade shows and speaking engagements and multiple press mentions. The result of all of this was that 11 of the 12 companies that you will see today have products that are not only in market, but with customers in their pipeline. And that's truly impressive by any measure. Finally, one of the questions that Charlie and I get asked a lot is, why do we do this? It's a lot of work. All that work happens over the course of the summer. And I want to leave you with a few thoughts about why this is such a fulfilling program to be a part of. Our first goal is wealth creation for our entrepreneurs, for our investors, and for the region. But a second equally important goal is talent retention. So we are aiming to give people the resources that they need to build their companies right here in Northeast Ohio. And many of the teams that you will see today were headed, they were on their way to the coast before we intercepted them and convinced them to build their companies here. And finally, it's fun. We're working with some of the most passionate and talented entrepreneurs to build world-class ideas, and that's energizing. So I urge all of you who are energized by that same idea to learn more about our program and consider getting involved. So with that, I'd like to introduce Charlie, who will tell you about some of the opportunities you'll hear today.
Thank you, Jen. So again, thanks for coming. Highlight of my summer, certainly. Startups, well, let me set the stage, literally. Startups are not like regular companies for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, they have no history. They come to you newborn, and they have nothing but forward-thinking, forward thoughts as they take the first step on their journey into successful company building. And that makes them different than regular companies that you might invest in or purchase from or be employed by, because it's all about the journey and the vision. So one of the things we stress early with our companies is, yes, they're going to work really hard. We also promise them that despite the appearance of risk, no one really dies building startups, which I think is comforting to some of them, because I swear to you, some of them come in thinking, this is the end of their lives if they don't pull this off. It's not true. You get a whole bunch of chances to do this. I'm living proof. So it's not the end of the world if it doesn't succeed. But you're on a journey, and one of the key things to that journey is to be able to present your vision to people. So I've read in the press over the last year or two about how a lot of accelerators like ours are getting rid of their demo days because they serve no purpose. Bullshit. They serve an incredibly important purpose, which is to let those entrepreneurs share their vision and encourage you to join them on their journey. And it's not just, there's different ways you can join them. There's entrepreneurs in the room. You can join them as co-workers, as interns. You can join them as customers, and you can join them as investors, or you can join them just as cheerleaders. These are a passionate group of people. I encourage you to stay around after the presentations and meet them individually. You'll be awestruck by their individual passions for their space, the zeal that they bring to what they're trying to accomplish. And these are no small visions. When Jen and I will present briefly before each company comes out and try to tell you in a variety of ways why we took them into the program. And without exception, it's because they had a vision for building something. And as Jennifer mentioned, it's all about wealth creation, jobs, and joy. And there's a great German word, and some of you have heard me say this before, called Schadenfreude, which means taking pleasure in the misery of others. So I'll take the liberty, not speaking a word of German, to coin a German word, a new one called Mitfreude, which means taking joy in the success of others. And that, for me, personally, is what accelerators and helping these young companies get started is all about. And if you want to help them, if you connect with the vision that they share with you on stage today, whether as a customer, a cheerleader, a social networking champion, to get their message out to the broader audience, or for the 57 accredited investors in the room, put your heart in cash into what is a high-risk, high-reward opportunity, I encourage you to meet them and do that. So our demo day is not going away because it is all about vision, both vision for the companies and, as I'll tell you a bit later on in the program, a vision for the city of Cleveland. And with that, let me turn it back over to Jennifer and let her introduce the first of our passionate teams.
So now the moment that you've all been waiting for, we get to meet the 2014 teams. When I was in college, we did things the old-fashioned way, and when a professor wanted to distribute materials, he or she either did it in class, or we visited their offices afterwards and picked it up from their mailbox. But today, things have changed, and at college and even high school campuses across the country, faculty and students use software to circulate readings, distribute materials, and even submit and grade papers. This software, which is called a learning management system, although it's ubiquitous, it's not so easy to use. And our first entrepreneur, John DeGennaro, he was the Director of Education Technology at Baldwin Wallace, where he fielded all of the complaints from the faculty and students as they used the learning management system. And together with his co-founder, Matt Hadgis, he created a solution of workarounds that, in fact, were better than the learning management system itself. And with that, our first startup, Quickly, was born. Today, Quickly is used in over 200 schools worldwide. John?
Thank you for celebrating with us tonight. I'm very happy to be here today. I'm John DeGennaro, the co-founder of Quickly, and I'm here to talk about our vision for the future of learning management systems. Quickly is a product that's integrated into the learning management system. It lays over the system, and it makes these enterprise software systems easier to use for the faculty and staff and students, and easier to use even for those that administer it. It drives adoption, and it increases the return on investment for the institution. Today, Quickly is used in over 200 institutions worldwide, over 850,000 users. We're really proud of that. As Jen mentioned, the LMS is ubiquitous, but not all people are real familiar with what an LMS is. The old-fashioned days of kind of passing out handouts in class today is replaced with technology. But that technology does a lot of other things. It does things like discussion boards. It does things like wikis and blogs, even exams and assessment. Today, we write into that, lay over that system, and we're starting with Blackboard, which is the world's largest and leading provider of learning management systems. So we saw a problem at a local institution. We saw teachers, and they were using Blackboard. They were using 9+ clicks to do some very simple things, like send an email. And for working at a college and for sending something as simple as an email, 9 clicks, that's a lot of clicks. So what happened is we saw actually adoption going down. We saw frustration increasing. We saw help tickets going up. So we knew we had to do something, and we created the solution. The solution lays over the learning management system. It allows faculty to do things from a task-centric point of view, not a course-centric point of view. So it thinks like they do. It allows them to do things across multiple courses at once. And here's some of the examples: post announcements, add content, add links, things like grading and group collaboration. We also were then approached, and the question was, can you take the learning management system and can we use Quickly to integrate it with some of the largest cloud providers on campuses today? And we thought about that, and we came up with a great solution. So today, Quickly is the only product that lays over a learning management system and integrates all 4 major cloud providers. So this is Quickly. This is the product, and what happens when you launch the product, you get an overlay over the learning management system. For those of you that can recognize it, behind the scenes there's Blackboard. And this allows people to use the system in a very trainingless environment. It's very easy for them to use. It's simple, as a matter of fact. There's no training involved, and it really simplifies a lot of tasks. In addition to that, you can see the different cloud providers there, a very simple, intuitive interface that connects all these cloud providers right to the faculty member. So our market is large. We're really excited about it. We can write and sell into every US institution, whether it's higher ed or K-12, every worldwide institution, whether it's higher ed or K-12, that has a learning management system. And typically most do today. They're installed on campuses all over the world, and so we know that this is something that people are really excited about. So our current pricing, it's transparent. It follows industry standards. We have a freemium model, and that freemium model allows us to have a nice upsell path that's very logical for schools. We also have a very short sales cycle in the ed tech world, which is less than 4 months. And we also have some additional revenue generating ideas as well. So our subscribers, they love us. We build a product that they really love. We have subscribers all the way from Southwest Asia to the UK to the US, and we're working with company in Brazil and also in India today. So we're really, really excited about where we're going, both globally and here in the US. Quickly has some great momentum, and FlashStart's enabled us to really step on that accelerator, literally. 7% conversion rate of our freemium clients, which is industry standard, but we're shooting for more. We're shooting for 25%. We've booked $17,000 to date in the last 12 weeks that we're just thrilled about. I have over 20 years of experience in higher education, in technology, training and development. I won a 2011 IMS Global Award for a learning impact solution that was installed at Baldwin-Wallace. My co-founder, Matt, has over 15 years of experience building solutions for clients, building web solutions that are elegant and meet their needs. We're really excited about today and hope that you'll have a chance to stop by and visit. Thank you.
Thanks, John. So people ask me the difference between last year and this year, and John's a good example of one of the biggest differences. I have 200 customers, which sorry for you guys who were here last year. We didn't really have anybody in our program last year that had anywhere near that much sales traction. So that's one of the first differences year over year. So next up is Remesh and Andrew Konya. And so I first met Andrew a year and a half ago at a Kent State hackathon. Now, for those of you who don't know, a hackathon is caffeine, beer, pizza, and 48 hours of coding. Not codeine, but coding. and I go to these because it's a great way to see ideas, to meet possible interns, and in this case, to find a brilliant entrepreneur. We stayed in touch over the year and a half, and he had a bunch of ideas that we would talk about occasionally. Some were bad, some were good. When he finally settled on Remesh, he came in, we sat down, Jennifer and Andrew and I sat down, and we talked about what Remesh was. And we talked. And about 2 hours later, my brain finally grasped what he was trying to do with Remesh. So a big challenge over the course of this summer was to try to get what Remesh is about into a 5-minute presentation. So if you want to fully engage your brains right now and try to condense what took me 2 hours to figure out, and listen to Andrew now with a lot of practice, try to explain Remesh and why it's an enormous idea with huge upside. Oh, I left off the punchline. So at the end of the 2 hours, I only had 2 words to say. I said, holy crap.
Thank you. All right, so who knows what this is a picture of? Anybody? All right, so this is where this began. Gaza City, 2012. This is after Israel was bombing, and that's why there's explosions. And when this happens, people die. And so I was bothered by this because two countries were disagreeing, and the result of a disagreement was death. And so I said, this is the problem that I want to solve. I want to solve war. And so what does this look like? So this is a simplified picture that lets me think about what war is like. And basically we have one group of people, in this case the Israelis, another group of people, in this case the Palestinians, and they are disagreeing about something. I think at this time it was borders or crossing borders, something like this. And they're bombing each other because, well, they can't agree, and the result is war. And so how do we solve this? Well, it's hard to solve this, and obviously we haven't yet done it. So we said, well, we can't solve a group and a group, that's just too difficult, but I'm a physicist by trade, and so the way that we tackle problems is we try and find a problem that's kind of like it, that's similar, that we do know how to solve, and then turn that problem into the next one. So that's what we did here. We said, well, a problem that we do know how to solve is if it's two people who are in disagreement. So if I disagree with somebody, I can have a conversation with them, I can interact with them, we can have a mediator, we can resolve it. This doesn't work with groups. And so we said, well, what if we took these groups of people and we turned a group of people into just one person? So a whole group of people, what if we could turn them into one person? Well, if that was the case, then the Israeli-Palestinian conflict would become one person in conflict with another person, and this we know how to solve. And so this got us thinking, wow, if we could turn a group of people into one person, we can do all kinds of things. We could change politics, because now a candidate could talk directly with its constituency. We could change education, because now teachers could talk directly with their classrooms. And we could even change how business functions, because a company can now talk directly with their customers. And so this is the vision that we took on, and this is what we are doing. We are Remesh, and we are trying to turn a group of people into a single person that you can interact with. And so obviously we can't start here because we don't even know how to build one person, right? We can't make a person yet. But what's the important part that we can do, and that is speech. So the first thing we decided to do is we want to replicate the speech function of a human for a group of people. Now, we live in a world where we don't necessarily talk to each other face to face anymore, or we do, but not so much. A lot of this happens over conversation through messaging apps. And so we decided what we're going to do is we're going to build a messaging app that lets an individual talk just like they would, but it also allows a group of people to participate in a conversation just as if they were a single person. So, how do we do this? The answer is that we mimic the human brain. The term people like to use is biomimicry. So I'll try and walk you through how this basically works. So at any time, even right now, you all have thoughts in your brain, right? Some of you have more thoughts, some of you have less thoughts. Maybe you're thinking, it's a little chilly in here, or man, I'm waiting to hear back from this company to see whether or not my investment paid off. And so your brain at any time has all these thoughts. So this is what we have to do for the group. If we want to have a collective mind, we have to have collective thoughts. So the first thing that happens is that all members who are part of the group, they basically, you could say, input in a text what they're thinking, and they can give multiple thoughts. And so in this way, we build an entire collection of thoughts. Now, of course, the thought that it's a little chilly in this room versus your investment, how's it doing, the investment's more important. And so not every thought is weighted equally. So we had to replicate this process in the brain. And the way that we did this is simple, binary comparison. At any time, we say, there's this thought and there's this thought. Which one of these do you agree with more? And so this binary comparison allows us to do something really special. It allows us to take the math that's built into particle physics that we look at when two particles collide that let us learn all the information about the particles, except now we're doing it with thoughts. And so what we do is we can build a data set and build an understanding of the thoughts. And so with this, we can identify which thoughts are more important, which thought is most important, and in the end, we can take the most important thought and the group can speak it. So now, so far, I showed you a bunch of cartoons, and this isn't just a cartoon, we've actually built this. And so right now, we have a web app, an iOS app, and an Android app. And so I won't step you through how it works here, but we have everything set up out in the lobby. We have like green lights and a bunch of dudes wearing green shirts. And if you come over to us, you can do it. Find a group of your friends, bring them over, and we'll turn you into a collective brain, and you guys can start talking. So this isn't just a thing that we're doing to save the world, although this is my current inspiration is to do this, but really it can change markets in a way that make it worth money, and it can solve problems in a way that can bring peace and mean less people die, which I think is a worthwhile thing that we're working on. So I'd like to end with this. So if you guys look around and you look next to you, you see people, right? You see lots of people. And you probably think we're lots of individuals, right? But if you step back from the earth just enough, then you can look like this. And if you look at this, you see that really we're just one thing. And by the time we're done, we hope that you'll be able to talk with this thing, Earth. So with that, thank you.
So Andrew mentioned their booth, and I urge you all to stop by and actually demo the Remesh product, because that truly is the way that it comes to life, and I think you will find it all strangely addicting, and you might not be able to put down your phones afterwards. So for our next startup, I'm at that stage of life where everyone I know is getting married. My husband and I were married 2 years ago, and we've been averaging over 6 weddings a year for the past 5 years. And what I know from having attended all of these weddings is that the modern couple has evolved, but the wedding industry has not. Today's bride and groom want their wedding to have impact and to last beyond the pictures and the gifts and the videos. Our next entrepreneur, Kritika, is engaged to her co-founder, Josh. And together that gives them the perfect perspective to transform the wedding industry. When we first met Kritika and Josh, I knew that they had hit on a great idea with their company, Not Profit. And I'm not alone. They have succeeded in getting the attention of top wedding blogs and top wedding vendors who want to help them promote their company and their cause. It's been great to work with Not Profit this summer, and my only regret is that they were not around 2 years ago when I was planning my wedding. Kritika?
Hi everyone, I'm Kritika Kripakaran and I'm with Not Profit. So I'm going to a wedding in a week and I know that the couple wants this, which is great, but I can't afford that, at least not alone. And the things I can afford, I know they already have. And this is supposed to be one of the most significant days of their lives. I want their present to be just as significant, but the things I can get are either way too expensive or, I mean, they're probably just gonna return anyway. And I know many of you have probably attended weddings and felt this pain also, but for those of you that haven't, or haven't been a couple recently, let me explain this to you a little further from the perspective of a couple. So it all starts with how the wedding industry hasn't evolved to serve the modern couple. There are over 2 million couples getting married each year, and increasingly, they're spending more and more on their weddings, which is great. But there are 1.3 socially responsible couples out there, and 74% of couples that are now getting married live together before marriage. And there's nobody in their market serving these couples. Now you might ask, wow, these are a lot of couples, how come nobody is serving them? Well, because wedding vendors lag behind the trends that these couples purchase and look for in everyday life. So for instance, my example here is Tom's Shoes. So Tom's Shoes, you buy a pair of shoes, and the company will give another pair to a child in need. And these couples love doing this in their everyday life. They're going out of the way to purchase feed products and Warby Parker glasses, and every little consumer and daily item that they're buying, they love it when it gives back to a charity. But they can't do that with one of the biggest purchases of their life, their wedding, and they want to. But the tools that are out there are really, really hard to find, and they're really hard to use for both the couple and the vendor. So my co-founder, Joshua Harris, is actually my fiance, and when we started wedding planning, we wanted to give back with our wedding, and we thought it was a no-brainer, and we thought that there had to be something out there for it. There seems to be something out there for it in all the other purchases that we make. But we dug into it deeper, and we realized that there wasn't anything that was really good and easy to use for us. And out of our frustrations, we reached out to other wedding vendors and wedding blogs, and they enlightened us that they too realized that many other couples were feeling the same pain, and the top wedding blog, Style Me Pretty, let us win a contest with them with a deal that if Joshua and I, started Not Profit, that they would provide us all the publicity we would need to get it off of the ground. So we came up with the Not Profit solution. We have 2 solutions for both gift solutions and wedding vendors. So let me break this down a little further for you. It all starts with a couple having the option to create their wedding website. So many couples are already doing a wedding website, but ours is a little different because it's an all-in-one stop for the couple and their guests. So the current wedding websites are really tuned around the couple and making it pretty and all about them, but they don't realize that guests are going on to here. Guests want to have a really, really easy way to give a purchase and just get all the info that they need for this wedding. And they currently don't have that. So we made an all-in-one stop that holds the wedding registries and all the info that you need for the wedding. So you can RSVP, find out where the ceremony is, even book your hotel on one page. So the couple then has the option to do the if you insist. So many couples nowadays, if they do want items for the registry, I mean, many of them are living together already and don't need little trinkets anymore. They don't need a toaster, they don't need a blender. But they do want big items like, let's say, that $3,000 couch. But they know no one guest is going to buy that for them. So this way, they can actually group fund for these big ticket items and receive donations to any nonprofit that they choose at the same time. So they don't have to feel guilty about buying this $3,000 couch, and they can actually give back to a charity in this whole process. And now, if a couple really does not need anything at all, if they've been living together and have all their necessities, they can do our donation-based wedding registry. This encourages two families to come together for one mutual cause, which is really, really meaningful and emotional. And you can actually see the impact that your donations have made as a family for the rest of your lives. Now, wedding planning. So these couples are increasingly spending more and more of their weddings, and they want every single purchase that they make to give back to a charity. So we allow couples to book vendors through Nonprofit, whether they find the vendors through Nonprofit or if they suggest their own vendors to Nonprofit. Every single vendor that they book through us will donate 10% of their fee to any charity that the couple chooses, and we'll also reward them with a discount. So how do we make money? I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but this is all completely free to the couple, which is amazing. So how we make money is it starts with the couple choosing their nonprofit organization. The couple then encourages their guests to purchase their wedding gifts, whether it be donations to the nonprofit or group gifting for those big ticket items, and we take just 3% of every transaction, which is right in the middle of industry standards. The couple then chooses their vendors, and like I mentioned previously, the vendors will donate 10% to the nonprofit organization that the couple chooses, and we take just 3% of that. So the market size. As I mentioned previously, there are 2 million couples that are getting married each year, and there are 1.3 socially responsible couples out there that are looking for something like this to do. If we just get 8% of this market, we'll be a $62 million company. So we need your help getting there. Stop by at our booth and suggest a couple that you know that's getting married. We are so sure that they are going to love this product, and if they don't, we would love to talk to them and get to know them and figure out what we can do for them. Also, stay in touch. Keep up with our publicity in Style Me Pretty and other big wedding blogs that are coming up soon with Josh and I's wedding. And finally, if you're interested in investing, we are raising $200,000 in the Q4 of 2014. Thank you all so much for listening to me. I'm Kritika Kripakaran.
Thanks, Kritika. That was really great. If any of you are not in your 20s, I would suggest asking people in your 20s, in their 20s, what they think of the idea. It has resonated with almost everyone we've spoken to. It's a very different generation than at least mine, and I think they're really onto something big there. Vestor is our next company, and last year at our first demo day, we talked about crowdfunding and the ability to advertise equity investments for the first time. And that has indeed, as we predicted, gone on to become quite a large, successful market, with literally tens of billions of dollars being generated through advertising of securities and real estate. In fact, the real estate piece is actually taking off a little more rapidly than the equity investment piece because of some of the holdups in the SEC clarifications. So about, January of this past year, we held a pitcher night, which was a wild event at Tech Pint in January, and we went and we literally gave away $5,000 in cash to the best pitchers. So it was a beer night with pitchers of beer and pitches of, anyway. We thought it was clever. And we gave away $5,000 on stage to the best pitches. And Vestor was there, but didn't pitch. But we did meet them at that time. And then we had a whole series of meetings, because our program, despite the 90-day focus that it appears to have, really goes on, sticks out of the bed at both ends, right? So we meet people when we meet them, we talk to them for long periods of time, and then they stay in the program after today, because it's a journey. And we met with Matt and his partner 4, 5, 6 times in the course of January, February, March, and kept refining the vision until we reached the stage where we thought this is a no-brainer for us to let them into the program because this, to coin a phrase, not coin a phrase, this could be huge. And it's already proving to be huge with a couple of their companies, a couple of similar companies in Washington, D.C. and California, but nothing in between. So this is a really unique opportunity, and I'll let Matt explain it in more detail, but it presents a massive disruption in the way people invest in real estate and the way you can invest in local real estate. And one of the things that he'll mention, and I want to re-emphasize it ahead of time, or pre-emphasize it, is that you can go out the door, turn right, and look where the new Meridian Hotel is going to be built. And I'll let him fill in the blanks on that one. Matt?
Thanks, Charlie. I wasn't quite sure he was going to tell that story, so I think it went all right. But hello, everyone. My name is Matt Moss, and I want you to know that the way you invest in real estate and the way you invest in your community is not only out of date, but it's completely ineffective. Let me explain. This is the John Hartness Brown building. It was built in the early 20th century, and as Charlie said, it's near the corner of Euclid and East 9th Street in downtown Cleveland. It's been vacant for about the past decade or so, but a developer has a plan to turn this into a Starwood Meridian Hotel. And for the first time ever, all of the investors here today can profit from the redevelopment of this property. The way they do so is with Vestor. We are a platform that connects real estate developers to private capital while providing accredited investors with a unique and engaging way to invest in real estate. There's a real need for a platform that can provide what we offer. Real estate developers lack reliable access to private capital as a form of financing for their projects. And on the other hand, investors lack direct access to real estate projects. For an investor, there's really nothing in between buying a property and doing all the development work themselves, or buying shares of a real estate investment trust. Until now, the only way you can invest in a project like the Meridian was to know someone who knew someone. Our solution is that we make investing in real estate simple, accessible, and efficient by providing investors direct access to real estate projects. Fewer middlemen mean fewer fees, and we can connect you to projects near you. The Meridian is not the only project you'd be able to invest in through our platform. For example, a typical real estate deal looks like this. A bank provides a majority of the financing, while a developer puts in a little bit of cash themselves. This middle part is what we're seeking to fill. For example, last year in Cleveland alone, there was $44 million of this type of financing used among the biggest projects that include hotels, office space, and residential development. Now that general solicitation has been legalized, there have been over $3.9 billion in Rule 506C filings. General solicitation has revolutionized real estate investment. For example, according to the CEO of Early Shares, a platform based in Miami, in the first 2 quarters since the legalization of general solicitation, it has outpaced other forms of equity investment threefold. For those of you that may be unaware, general solicitation allows issuers of securities to publicly advertise their offerings. Now I want to look at Vestor as a business. We don't just let deals loose on our platform. We have a due diligence process where we look for completeness, transparency, and disclosure. Typically, we'll take a project through this 3-step process. First, we'll assign a coordinator to each real estate project before it arrives on our platform. Next, we'll look at the major underwriting on the project. Again, typically there's been a loan or a major source of financing prior to us. Third, if the project's large enough, we'll take it before our project review board to ensure that investors have all the information they need to make a wise investment decision. Remember when I said the Meridian wasn't the only deal? Well, we actually have several in our pipeline, including residential projects in the greater Sandusky and greater Cleveland area, as well as an iconic downtown building that we've yet to announce. Now you might be wondering, how do we make money? Well, it's really simple. It's really simple. We take a cut of each deal, much like an equity fund model that you may be familiar with. First, a developer posts a project onto our platform, and then we vet it before investors are able to invest. Then, when a project is funded, we facilitate the transfer of capital to the developer and take a fee on that end. When the developer builds their property and begins to cash flow, we facilitate the transfer of returns to the investor's bank account and take a fee on that end as well. Now, we're not the only real estate crowdfunding platform in the country. In fact, several have popped up since the legalization of general solicitation. However, all of these operate regionally, and therefore we think this is the perfect opportunity to begin to offer crowdfunded real estate projects in the Midwest. Our main advantage is locality. Whether it's projects here in Cleveland, projects across the Midwest, or projects across the country, we can connect you to real estate deals near you. We're the first platform in Cleveland and the first in Ohio, and our market knowledge and industry contacts ensure that you get the best deals to invest in. I want to give you some background on who we are. Again, my name is Matt Moss. I have some background in the public sector as a small business underwriter and a real estate project coordinator. Scott, my partner, worked at Moore Partners and as a consultant on the Cleveland State Campus Master Plan, where he coordinated several real estate surveys of residential projects. Jeff is our developer, and he worked at companies that include TAC, FormFire, and ExpenseBot, and has built our platform from scratch. So today you have unique investment options. You can invest in the Meridian today, or you can invest investor directly and grow with us as a business. Your third option is you can invest in a project, see how that goes, and if you like, invest in us. I want to thank you for joining me today and let you know that our Investor Meridian equity offering is live today. So please stop by our booth, ask us questions, and help us change the way real estate is developed in this today. Thank you for your time, and I want you to know that until now, you had to know someone who knew someone. Now you know Vestor. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. I was really taken by the comparison that until Vestor, it was actually easier to buy company stock in a company in China that you didn't know how to spell, pronounce, or even knew what they did, than it was easier than to invest in a project right down the street. And I think the dynamic is going to change a lot of different things, and we're very excited about that. Now, common startup wisdom is that you look for companies that solve customer problems, that have customers with pain points and cash. And if you can solve that pain point, they will give you cash. And that's pretty much the formula that most accelerators and most startups go for. There is another model. And that model occurs when there's a disruptive new technology or a new opportunity that presents itself that no one's ever thought about before. And if I have a favorite class of startups, it's that kind. Because talk about a vision and a journey. It's like being put down in the middle of a grass field, having no idea where you are and trying to figure out where to go and not get killed by a bear or bitten by a scorpion. It's nothing but horizon as far as you can see. Our next company, Lufthaus, is presented with that opportunity. Bluetooth used to be this technology that lets you pair your headset with your phone. That all blew up a few months ago, and they completely changed it, and it's presenting an entirely new opportunity. And the way I like to think about it is that you can now, with this new Bluetooth technology, create an actual aura of data around a person or a thing or a building, and that thing will transmit information about itself. It's as if we went back to paganism, and the trees and the rocks and the buildings and the artwork all comes to life. I don't want to steal too much more of their story, but it's an opportunity to disrupt a whole series of industries. And one of the things that we found that happened when they explain the technology, which they will, is that people's brains start to spin out in new uses for this new disruptive technology. And I probably went on too far, but Joan, Soskin, and Lauren Wyeth will come on out. And
Lufthaus will let every object on the planet tell its own story. And we're doing this by taking advantage, like Charlie said, of this new and innovative technology that allows each object to broadcast a sphere of data around itself. So now a painting can tell you about itself as you approach. A building can explain its history. A wall can talk. And then put together each of those individual little data broadcasts, these stories, they come together to create a full experience. So imagine a museum where as you walk through the halls, the relics tell you pieces of their collective backstory, or a city where the streets take you on a guided tour. And the possibilities are really endless. And every time we meet with our customers, we come up with new and innovative applications for this technology. But this is a wide open field because this has never really been possible until now. Bluetooth Low Energy has been incredibly complex and only available to those with technical expertise. But we're putting these possibilities into your hands. So we're changing the game by allowing the people with those backstories to tell with the ability to tell them, allowing you to experience the full world with all of that knowledge. So as a user, all you have to do is download our app, and then as you wander a space, our beacons trigger interactive content to your device. So I'll give you an example. One of our first customers is a unique local company called City Prowl that curates expert content into self-guided audio tours of the city. So if you were here in Cleveland, and you are, you would open up the app and you would see all of the different experiences that we support. So walking up to the Allen Theater today, for example, GPS location would put City Prowl on your list. And if you clicked on City Prowl, you would enter a special white labeled section branded for that customer. And as you wander into the Allen Theater, wherever you happen to be, Lufthouse would tell you about where you are. So now as I walk over to this side of the stage, for example.
Originally built as an opulent silent movie house, the Allen required no backstage facilities.
I would get an introduction to the Allen Theater. And then as I moved away and walked closer to a different beacon.
Designed in the Renaissance Revival style, an ornate lobby led to a pillared Italian Renaissance rotunda, its dome rising 33 feet high.
I would get another little bite of information specific to that context. So we make all of this possible through a 3-piece subscription-based system. Customers can create and update these experiences through our online content management system. So then these experiences are curated by location and just appear in our app through our iPhone app. So we then provide these durable pieces of beacon hardware that the customers can install easily, peel and stick around their space to connect their spaces to those experiences. And the great part about this is that all they have to do is take that existing content, audio, images, anything that can be on the internet today, and just upload it through our server, through this content management system. So we think this really differentiates us from any solution available on the market today, because we prioritize those content experts rather than tech-savvy developers, for example. So our platform is built for ease of use to allow even that museum curator with no technical expertise to bring those objects to life through those stories.
So Joan was saying the value here really lies in making this accessible to people who otherwise couldn't take advantage of this technology. These customers of ours can engage their audience with rich multimedia content where it's most relevant to them, and they do this through our flexible and customizable system. Now, there have been a few major early adopters in this space because Bluetooth LE is really exciting, but all these have been very large single-use cases that aren't scalable and aren't custom, or are very customized to each user. So there are a lot of applications, really unlimited uses to this, but in order to get their product out to the market, we've picked 2 markets that we're going to target to get going. The first is museums. They spend about $464 million every year in educational programs. And the second is trade shows, which spend about $4.2 billion in technology integration. Both of these are both highly concentrated in Ohio, but they also are content experts who sometimes struggle integrating new technology due to the fact that they don't have internal resources or expertise to really take advantage of this. And we've gone out and talked to them. They've actually had really amazing responses. Everyone we've talked to has been very excited. And the first one, Steve here, he said he got really excited about how this could help tell his customers' stories better. We've actually had so much success that we had to slow down our sales process and put a couple projects on hold. The top 4 on this slide are the ones we're most engaged with, and we'll have a couple of those launching in the next few months. But the other ones are all in our sales pipeline, and really excited about getting going and working with us. So we believe that we've had this amazing success largely because our team is specifically primed to take advantage of this opportunity. We have a background in management, operations, and engineering, and that makes us really experts in taking something very complex and technical and making it accessible to a wide range of people. So looking forward, we have a couple of important milestones we want to bring up. We actually just got our iOS app live last week, and we have our first public launch the first week of September. And we'll be holding a seed round in the end of 2014. That's really to help us scale up to meet demand for our customers. So if you're as excited about this opportunity as we are, there are a couple ways you can get involved. First, we'd love to hear your ideas about where you want to see this next, or if you have ideas for partnerships, please let us know. And if we sufficiently piqued your interest and you want to hear about ways to invest in the future, come by and keep in touch.
And beyond that, we have a special treat for you today. So we have our sort of world premiere, we like to say, of our app out here in the lobby. So all you have to do is search for Lufthouse in the App Store. And when you open our app, select the Flash Starts Demo Day tour. And as you walk around and walk past everyone's booths, let the companies tell you a little bit more about themselves through our app. Thank you.
encourage you all to use the Luftas app today and demo it in the reception afterwards. Also, you should all stop by the Western Reserve Historical Society's exhibit on the Browns beginning this September. Their technology will be showcased there. Plus, it's a great exhibit and a great way to kick off this Browns season, which should be exciting. So Harvard has an endowment of $32 billion. Yale and the University of Texas clock in at just over $20 billion. And in fact, there are 20 schools across the US with endowments of $5 billion or more. Based on those numbers, it seems like higher education is doing just fine. But the reality is that the majority of US colleges and universities are in serious financial trouble. Our next startup, Mango, has a unique solution to help these colleges and universities. And their solution is so relevant that it has hit a nerve with every single school that they have met with so far, leading to significant demand for their pilot program. With that, I'd like to introduce Eric Venaro to tell you more about Mango.
Thanks. This past year, Dartmouth College saw a 14% drop in total applicants. In fact, almost all the schools that we've talked to have had significant trouble recruiting qualified applicants, so much so that 33% of all schools are projected to close by 2034. Moody's recently released a survey stating that only 12% of all colleges are said to have stable financials. And here at Mango, we have a way to help these colleges. Tuition revenue is projected to fall in 28% of public schools and in 19% of private schools. Colleges understand that they need to look to more international students in order to help solve this problem. However, many of them, they don't even know where to begin. The schools that have started recruiting for international students and are successfully doing this are mostly using very costly campaigns that involve traveling to a variety of countries where their recruiters don't even always speak the native language. They typically set up booths in the major cities and attempt to recruit for the entire country. This is incredibly ineffective. And this is where we as Mango can come in to help. We offer social media marketing campaigns through our web platform so that schools can upload content to include possible posts and images for translation. We will then work with them to translate this content and post it on international social media. We're starting with China because 28% of all international students come from China. And we're starting on Sina Weibo, the Chinese equivalent of Twitter, because 90% of Weibo's followers are between the ages of 14 and 25. And this is significant since they have 360 million users across China. Take the University of Miami, or Miami University in Ohio, sorry. If they were able to increase their student population by 1%, that would be 200 students, and have all of those students be international students, they could stand to make an additional $8 million in annual recurring tuition revenue. This is an advertisement that we created for another one of our partner schools. And as I was saying, we help to post these ads on Weibo. We have already been able to partner with Princeton Review and XDF, the two largest test prep agencies in the world. And Mango is one of a kind. We're the only company in the US higher education market that can post advertisements on Chinese social media. We have been able to fill our initial pilot program in 21 days. We understand that schools are known for having a slow sales cycle. However, because this is such a major pain point for universities, we have not had to contend with this sales cycle. We're currently implementing a commission-based revenue model. Since the NACAC approved commission-based recruiting for international students this past year in 2013, by 2018, we will be able to reach $50 million if we can take a 10% commission on the first 2 years of every student we recruit's tuition. A little bit about myself. My name is Eric Venaro. I'm a second lieutenant in the Army National Guard, and I've also previously worked at the Training Brain Operations Center for the Army, programming the gaming simulations that they utilize. My partner, Kevin Wong, recently returned to a trip from China where he's able to help us negotiate advertisement deals with Sina Weibo. We're currently looking to raise $500,000 to help us rapidly expand into the emerging markets of Brazil, Vietnam, and the established markets of South Korea and Saudi Arabia. In order to achieve this, we will need to hire additional translators and sales associates. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope that you remember our company is Mango, just like the fruit, and we are creating a web platform solution for college recruitment success. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. That was a great presentation. And Eric mentioned one of my favorite points this summer when he and his partner Kevin were trying to negotiate contracts with Weibo, and they were having some trouble. So what did they do? They hopped on a plane to China and negotiated them in person. And that's what true entrepreneurship is about. I spent my career, but before starting FlashDarts, in digital media and network TV. So you can imagine my delight when I met our next entrepreneur, Ted Canalongo, and he told me about his innovative digital media solution. But my interest went beyond mere delight. And to give you some context, when I was in media, a lot of what we were doing was transitioning our content online. And we encountered the same problems over and over. How will our consumers discover our content? How do we generate enough engagement to then generate meaningful revenue? And how do we track and measure a cross-platform solution? Talking to Ted, I realized that his company, Class 6, was an exact solution to all of our problems. And more importantly, consumers loved the product that he had created. I want to introduce you to Ted Canalongo to tell you more about Class 6, and I hope that you will use his product and love it as much as we do. Ted?
I don't want to waste your time. Think for a moment about the last newscast you watched. Do you find that it was really engaging from start to finish? Was there just one story that you absolutely wanted to see, and by the time they teased it through commercial break after commercial break, it was just simpler to pull out your phone and look it up there? It was the second situation that was happening to me more often than not, and I realized this isn't what the broadcasters want us to be doing, not what their advertisers want either. The problem is that we were trying to take these old methods of distribution and pair them with new consumer behaviors. We just ended up wasting everyone's time. We know that people have this appetite to watch news video on the internet. About half of all adults under the age of 50 do so. The challenge for broadcasters and publishers has been that their individual sites and mobile apps have proven incredibly inefficient at getting their video content in front of an online audience. For your average local news website, typical viewer is going to watch less than one video a month from that site. Now, the Wall Street Journal said this is a particular problem for them because they've got advertisers knocking on their door. They're ready to advertise around their online content, but they cannot generate enough video views to support the advertising demand. It's not just the Wall Street Journal. This is happening across the board at the local level as well. At one point in time, we thought social media is going to be the silver bullet. It's going to lead to discovery and drive content to these sites. And yes, it does drive traffic. But that traffic is a very different type. They tend to stick around only about a third as long, and they may never return again. It's not sticky. A few years ago, the Pew Research Center predicted that ultimately it would be technology companies that would step in and solve this problem. They'd connect content providers and advertisers to an audience based around each person's individual and unique interests. And just last month, tech futurist Robert Scoble, and I apologize for making you look at this picture, but he urged news organizations to do basically the same thing. It's time to partner with technology companies to solve the distribution issue. This is where Class 6 comes in. We are that distribution, and more importantly, that discovery platform. We connect content providers with a brand new audience online, and we help those viewers find stories that they care about from sources they may not have otherwise even known existed. We do this across web, mobile, and connected television through a service that can best be described as Pandora for news video. You watch what you like, and you skip what you don't. In doing so, you effortlessly create your own interest profile. We pair that with our patent-pending recommendation engine to create a personalized newscast for you every time you log in. Now, we're live today, and some of the metrics that we've seen from our early users are incredibly promising. So a brand new user on Class 6 is going to watch, on average, probably about 50% of the first video that we present to them. And those are based on metrics such as popularity, freshness, social media scores, and the like. By the time they've watched 9 videos on Class 6, we're already able to know enough about them to drive their average level of engagement up by a factor of 40%. Instead of watching less than 1 video a month from their local provider, they're now watching somewhere in the 10 video a month range, an increase of about 1,500%. This translates to a total time spent for the average user of 106 minutes watching Class 6 each month. And if you're wondering how that compares, well, among the top 10 video providers in the United States based on size, that would rank us number 2 behind only YouTube in terms of engagement, beating out the likes of Facebook, AOL, Yahoo, Amazon, and Vimeo. Now, Class 6 really resonates with those people that consider themselves cord cutters. They say Class 6 fills this major void in their media experience. It's a service that they rely upon daily for their news, and a go-to for them on their Chromecast. And this brings me to my next point. We understand that users really want a truly cross-platform solution in today's environment. So you can sign up for and log on to Class 6 today. Watch viewing on your Android or iOS device. You can pause viewing, even mid-video, and pick up right where you left off on our website. Maybe you see a few stories there that you really want to watch, but you don't have time. So you queue them up, and you watch them as your evening newscast on your television through support for technologies such as Chromecast and Apple TV. Today, we are pleased to announce publicly for the first time that Class 6 will also be coming to the Android TV platform when it launches later this year. Just as Android's about 80% of the smartphone market, we believe that they're really poised to make significant progress in the living room as well, and we want to be there from the start. Now, I mentioned that the way we do this is through these effortless, frictionless profiles that we're creating for each user. And for even a moderately active user on our service, they can easily contain 5, maybe 10,000 data points about that user. This means that content providers now have this opportunity to really drill down and see what it is that their audience actually cares about. And they can benchmark their coverage of those subjects against that of the competition. It also means that advertisers now have this unprecedented opportunity to really target the audience interested in what they have to sell around broadcast quality news content. Our revenue model consists of running the same ad campaigns that the content providers are currently running, but running them through the Class 6 platform so that we can more appropriately target them to the users. We'll take a portion of the ad revenue generated as a result. We've also explored the possibility of premium content offerings or freemium option, and can add additional value for the content providers through analytics and a recommendation engine that they can plug into their existing website and mobile app as well. Our team consists of myself. I'm Ted Canalongo. I've got about 15 years of information systems and development experience. And my brother, Phil, a 2-time Emmy Award-winning local news producer. Phil originally came to me with this problem several years ago and has really been the inspiration for what Class 6 is today. And so with that, I'd like to ask you to download the app. Try it out. We've got this really passionate core base of users, but with about 6 million plus households that have already cut the cord in the United States, we believe the potential opportunity could be much, much larger. If you share the same passion that we do with our users, we'd certainly love to talk to you about an investment as well. So with that, I'd like to thank you. I'd love to talk to you afterwards, and I promise I won't waste your time.
Thanks, Ted. For those of us without a background in broadcasting like me, those engagement numbers are literally off the charts. So go talk to them. I'm going to try now to weave the phrase bad girls and passion into an introduction without it going wildly off the tracks. About a year ago, I told my wife that I was going off to see some bad girls. And, that, of course, got me a funny look. And I said, no, I think it's like a startup thing. And there is, it's a great, one of Cleveland's great assets in the startup space is a place called, organization called Bad Girl Ventures. So I went to this event, it turned out to be wine and cheese, and talked to the entrepreneurs, and I was totally struck by the concept for STEM Power Kids, because we have had 2 daughters, and they both went to a girls' school, and teaching technology, science, technology, engineering, and math to girls is a big challenge and a big topic. So it was forefront of my brain, so I was taken by the topic. And then I met Adisa Sherwood Ajiboye, who is the co-founder of the company, and I was just struck by her passion for the space. And that showed up week after week as she kept calling and say, did you let me in the program yet? Am I in the program? I need to be in the program. And so we met, we talked to her, we refined the idea, and her passion never went away. We gave her challenge after challenge. She met every single challenge. So I am very proud to, well, wait, I got one more thing. Pay close attention to her team slide, and that's my only teaser. But I'm very proud to introduce Adisa Sherwood Ajiboye and STEM Power Kids.
Hi, good evening. I'm Adisa. I'm the co-founder of STEM Power Kids, and we're working to empower kids in science, tech, engineering, and math. So here's the problem. Only 45% of our high school graduates are ready for college-level math. That's less than half. And only 30% are ready for college-level science. 30%. But our problems start long before high school. In fact, by 4th grade, 1 out of 3 students shows a lack of interest and ability in STEM. And even though studies show that children introduced to STEM educational resources perform better in math and science than those who are not, we don't do that. Our early childhood education classrooms intentionally teach math less than 3% of the time. So we're hearing more about this problem. Educators are starting to speak up. Politicians are talking about it because we want not only a literate nation, but we want a nation that innovates, a nation that computes, that investigates. And parents are starting to be more concerned about this problem too. Microsoft commissioned a study and found that 93% of parents believe that STEM education should be a priority. And 95% are willing to spend their own money on supplemental STEM education. They just don't know what to do or when to start. So we founded STEM Power Kids to empower kids in STEM. We merged STEM education with early childhood education, since the research indicates that starting younger is better. We provide all the materials and supplies needed for hands-on activities, because experiential learning is shown to be better for initial comprehension and retention. And we provide easy-to-follow instructions. We call them bite-sized lesson plans, so a parent or volunteer can easily engage in these activities with the student without having to do any prep work. We have a year-long curriculum. It's broken into 12 units, and we use a subscription model to bill for and ship 1 kit a month, such that your child is literally and figuratively increasing the tools in his or her STEM toolbox each month. Now, most importantly, our curriculum is created by experts in early childhood education and STEM professionals. We're also hoping to coordinate some online content, and we're working on an animated web series. So we're live and in the market right now. We've got some traction with paying customers, and if you'd like to sign up, or if you know someone who has kids ages 3 to 8, I'm gonna give you a special promo code for today. It's FSDD for Flash Starts Demo Day, and that's gonna take off the shipping and handling charge. So you'll pay only $19.99 a month. The testimonials. So we're getting great feedback from a lot of our users, and they send us adorable pictures. They're on our Facebook page if you wanna take a look. And not only are they reporting that they're enjoying the activities, but they're saying that their child is more interested in science and math after starting our program than they were before. Now, this is a large market. The supplemental education market has been valued at over $15 billion. And there are about 12.8 million preschool and kindergarten age kids in America. They add about $300 a year for a subscription. Gives us a total addressable market of about $3 billion. Now, a quarter of those kids live in higher income homes, so we're focusing our initial sales efforts there, giving us an initial target market of about $780 million. But we're also partnering with some community organizations in lower income communities to help them write grants so that they can purchase our STEM education enrichment program. We're exploring some different distribution channels. We're reaching parents and grandparents through social media, We're testing a retail teaser kit. And we're also having influencers in the space try our product and write some reviews. And so far, they've all been glowing reviews. You can find them on our website. We're also trying some multi-level marketing with STEM ambassadors in different states. And we've been contacted by several PTAs and preschools. So we're determining now how best to facilitate and expand our B2B sales. So that was a little bit about what we do and who we're doing it for. I'd like to tell you a little bit about us. I was a Fulbright Scholar and Rotary Ambassadorial Scholar before going to Cornell Law School and working for two of the most prestigious law firms in the world before founding STEM Power Kids. I found a stellar co-founder, so I married him. He's got a PhD in biomedical engineering, and he also studied computer science and electrical engineering at Duke, so he's the hacker on the team. And then Susie was the former STEM director for Girl Scouts before I found her. Now she helps us with outreach and advocacy. Bless you. And she also helps organizations to write grants if they can't purchase our product outright with their budget. And although they're not pictured, we have two amazing early childhood educators who draft lesson plans for our program. So we've got a little bit of PR, and our product is winning some awards. And shout out to Bad Girl Ventures, because I was the winner from last year. And right now, we have a Kickstarter campaign that is live. That's an old screenshot. Last time I checked, we had about 84 backers and just over 4,500 in funding. But if you don't have 50,000 or 100,000 to sink into one of these amazing Flash Starts teams, you could back us for $1. So check out our Kickstarter. It'd be great. And the really cool thing is that we partnered with Big Brothers Big Sisters right here in Cleveland, so that if you don't need a STEM Power Pack sent to your house, we can deliver it to Big Brothers Big Sisters, and a volunteer will use it with the student. All right, well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. We'd love to come talk to you, or you come talk to us at our booth. We'll be there. So thanks so much.
Great. Thanks, Adisa. There's also a 4-year-old on the team, too. He's there in that last photo, see? So youth has its advantages. At least I'm told that. The next team is young, very young. And we first met them, and they came and said, we want to do online game gambling. And I went, I think that's illegal. And, well, it turns out that not only are they young, very young, they're also smart, very, very smart. And it turns out that what they proposed is legal in 38 states. Now, if I could have tied that story to the bad girl passion story, I would have, but I could never come up with a way to do it. But so, what they're going to talk to you about, this is Ari Lewis and Koala. We're going to talk about the convergence of the ability to wager on games, and as our entire intern contingent will confirm, it's more than a little addictive. So if you want to do it afterwards, I'm sure they'll help you with the gaming and the wagering piece. But I'll let them explain it in more detail. Ari Lewis.
Thanks. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Ari. I'm one of the co-founders of Koala. Koala is bringing betting to mobile and desktop games. So we have broken down the gaming landscape into 2 categories. On the left side, you have platforms that don't allow wagering. On the right side, you have platforms that do. The Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, and traditional console games are examples of platforms that don't allow wagering and that are closed. They are very restrictive to game developers, and if a developer wants to build on it, they have to build once for that platform and then again for another platform. Then you have platforms like Klay.io. Klay.io is device agnostic, meaning you build once and it's available on multiple platforms. However, they do not allow wagering. Now, say you do decide you want to go bet. Well, sometimes you have to travel over an hour to get to a casino. It's not really convenient. Then you have Koala. Koala allows you to bet anytime, anywhere on your favorite mobile and desktop games. So you're on the subway, going to work, and you get bored. You decide, oh, I'm going to go on the platform, wager a few dollars, and you have your lunch money for the day. We believe gaming is entering a new frontier, powered by game developers and built for users. Right now, developers make lots of great games, but only a little bit of money. Say they put in advertising, maybe they'll make a few cents, or Say you download the game and it costs $1. Apple and Google already take out 30%, and the developer is now down to 70 cents. We are unleashing game developers from the chains of the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Right now, 3 billion hours a week are spent playing video games. That is the equivalent of 300,000 years packed into 1 week. This reflects a growing industry that is estimated to be $24 billion by 2016. So why now? Well, more people than ever have mobile phones connected to the internet, and mobile is the fastest growing platform for games. So how does it work? Well, Jen and Charles, in their spare time, when they're not busy mentoring young companies, like playing Flappy Koala. So Jen and Charles will go onto our platform and wager $5. Jen, she's not having a great day. She's yelling at all of us how we're not ready for demo day. While Charles is having a great day. He was just on the cover of Forbes magazine. Charles ends up beating Jen by 10 points. Charles will get $8 or 80% of the pot. The developer, in this case Kelvin Wong, who made the game, will get $1 or 10% of the pot. And our company, Koala, will get $1 or 10% of the pot. Koala is realigning the incentives of game developers, gamers, and gaming platforms. So our product is up and running at koala.co. I'll take you through how it works. So you access the browser through either your mobile or desktop device. You log in through Google or Facebook, and you hit play. You then set a wager. You can either practice or wager 25 credits or 100 credits, which is the equivalent of 25 cents or $1. You then play, in this case, the game Asteroid, which is one of the games featured on our platform. You'll get a score, and then you'll be matched up. You're either told if you won or lost the game. You then have the option to play again, select a different game, request a payout, or deposit more money. One user, Austin Muniz, was shocked how addicting the platform became. He played over 30 times and still kept going and winning more money. So we are a team of 5 people. Now, despite being young, we have years of experience in front-end development, back-end development, product development, as well as design. We also are lucky enough to have our own in-house game developer on the team, which helps us integrate with other outside game developers. So what I'm asking from you guys here today is to go on our platform, koala.co, tell us what you think. If you love the product as much as our users, we plan on raising a seed round in the next few months and would love to discuss investment opportunities with you. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thanks, Ari. Now the secret is out, and you all know that I am the enforcer here at FlashStarts. What Ari failed to mention is that Ohio is one of the states in which this is legal, so you should all feel free to download the game after this and play. It is quite addicting. So the internet has enabled a series of waves of technology that have continually changed how companies interact with and engage their consumers. What's unique about our next startup, Bracketer, is that it has an experienced team that has surfed many of these waves. This team knows how to spot the next technology on the horizon and translate that into easy-to-use and accessible solutions for brands. Armed with this experience, our next entrepreneur, Julie Petrarca, and her team at Bracketer are poised to disrupt the digital marketing landscape. Bracketer has created a series of innovative solutions that will transform how brands interact with and engage with consumers forever. Julie?
Wow. Well, thanks, Jen. I think I'm kind of done with that introduction. So before I start, I just wanted to say, having grown up here in Cleveland and pursue a technology career, I never thought I was going to be on this side of the stage at Playhouse Square, so this is quite a thrill for me. So again, my name's Julie P. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Bracketer. So Bracketer is an image-based tournament fueled by predictive analytics to drive consumer engagement. Now, that's quite a mouthful, so let me tell you a little bit about what that means. So using a familiar tournament structure, we allow customers and consumers to interact with a wide variety of different types of content. Now, this content comes either from the brands themselves, or the brands can source it over social media on Instagram via hashtag. When the tournament runs, the end users can vote on their favorites, and each tournament produces a winner. So before I talk a little bit more about the Bracketer product, I want to talk a little bit about the digital advertising space to kind of talk about why I think this is a great idea and at the right time. So in the beginning was the banner ad. Literally, this banner ad ran in 1994 on hotwire.com, and it was actually advertising AT&T. And it did so well that it started quite a campaign of internet marketing. Now, things have changed a lot since 1994, and people are moving away from traditional styles of advertising because it's disruptive. It takes people away from what they want to be doing and the content they want to be looking at, and it's really unsuccessful, and they're moving more towards what's called content marketing. Content marketing is all about editorializing products and putting it into a context that's valuable to the consumer. So instead of interrupting their day, they tell a customer about your product in a way that's meaningful for them. It allows companies and brands to build engaging relationships with their customers, and it's really successful. So successful, in fact, that 86% of B2C companies use content marketing because, on average, customers spend 40% more when they engage with brands online. So what this means is that engagement drives sales. But 65% of marketing departments and companies say that driving engagement is still their primary challenge. In other words, it's hard to do this. So let's take a look at why it's hard to drive consumer engagement. Well, over 50% of companies say that it's hard to come up with enough content marketing ideas to become successful. Almost half of them say they have a difficulty measuring the success of the campaign, even if they do figure out how to run one. And then almost a third say that they lack the training or resources to pull it off. So Bracketer solves this problem by providing an easy-to-use solution that helps our customers. So the traditional content marketing cycle looks a little like this. Companies produce content, they publish it on their website or on a blog, they review the analytics at the end of the week, and then they rinse and repeat, basically. We're going to turn that a little bit on its head. So with Bracketer, we're allowing the companies that use us to allow their customers to produce the content. So by turning the content consumers into the content producers, we're kind of flipping this on its head, which allows us to do some predictive insights to gauge the potential success of the campaign. Then they go ahead and publish it, and we take a look at analytics again. So let's take a look at the true Bracketer product as an example. So we came up with a concept for Duncan Hines called the $10,000 Batter Battle, which is kind of a great title unless you're really nervous and you're on stage, in which case it's hard to say. So Duncan Hines invites all of their users over Instagram to come up with these engaging dessert ideas using their products. The tournament will run. When the tournament's done, somebody wins $10,000, and the product is on the shelf at the grocery store. This is a lot of consumer engagement. It gets people excited about a product before it even hits the shelves. But Bracketer does a little bit more for them. So when Cupcake wants to be in the tournament, what Bracketer can do is we go out and we scrape valuable information from a variety of different sources on the internet, and we can let Duncan Hines know what her reach assessment and engagement potential is, and we give her a Bracketer score so that Duncan Hines can understand how many quote-unquote social whales they have amongst their users. They know who to put in their tournament because it's all about picking the right players to drive success. Then when the tournament runs, we give them the traditional analytics. We know how many people came to the site, how many people voted, how many rounds they voted in, who they were and who their followers are, how social the campaign was, in other words, how many regrams and retweets the tournament got, and we can help customers direct and amplify their customer engagement. So let me introduce a little bit about the team before I talk about a little bit more about the other solutions out there. Like I said, I'm originally from Cleveland. I'm actually a boomeranger. I moved back here after spending some time in Silicon Valley. I have over 15 years experience working with the marketing departments at big name media companies like Ubisoft, Bravo, and Showtime, helping them find digital solutions at the intersection of social engagement and technology. While I was out there, I met Meryl Beth Ferguson, who's our CTO, and she introduced me to Gina Rodriguez, who's our creative director. Now, both of them have worked at 2 previous companies prior to joining Bracketer. Meryl Beth was the CTO of an online analytics company, e-commerce analytics company, and then she was also the VP of operations at Meetup.com. Gina Rodriguez is really great at designing creative interfaces and also making meaning of difficult to understand analytics. So the 3 of us have a long history, though we're a new company. So a little bit more about the content marketing landscape. If we look at a paradigm of content-focused versus solution-focused companies, and those that focus on kind of past analytics and predictive analytics. Bracketer is right where you want it to be. We're focusing on predictive, valuable insights, and we're offering an easy-to-use solution for our customers. We're helping our customers increase subscriber engagement rates. We're increasing the number of people that they're talking to who are social whales in their network, ultimately coming down to increasing sales conversion rates and helping their customers have positive brand sentiments about them. So our current status and opportunity, we've received $25,000 of investment from FlashStarts, and just right now we're finishing our summer in the incubator program. We have a number of brand name customers in queue for our beta, and we're asking for introductions to potential customers and partners tonight. So if you can think of anybody who'd like to run one of our campaigns, we'd love to talk to them. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks, Julie. That's a trend that we're seeing more and more, people coming back to Cleveland because of all the advantages we offer, and we'll talk more about that later, but remember that point that she said. She's a boomeranger. Next up is Travel Later and Rob Holland, and two quick points before I let Rob come out here. The first is that I've been incredibly struck every time he brings up one slide, and I'll spoil a little bit again. Many people can put vacations on their credit card. Half the U.S. population needs help planning and budgeting it. Half the U.S. population. So what Travel Later is addressing is an enormous market, so let's keep that at the forefront. The second point I want to make is we had 90 days of our program, and long days, long hours, and lots of work for everybody involved. But I swear to God, I said, "Good night, Rob," 90 times. Last person in the office, first person in there in the morning. We talked about passion and domain expertise and a big idea. Let's also talk about dedication and hard work. So if that is a key recipe for success, Rob's baking a great cake. Come on out, Rob.
Wow, appreciate that introduction. Again, my name is Robert. I'm the founder of TravelLater.com. And TravelLater is an easy-to-use platform that helps consumers budget, plan, and pay for vacation while linking their financial and social accounts online with the ultimate goal of helping these consumers reach their vacation savings goals. TravelLater was actually started through some of my personal frustrations within the travel industry. For example, booking a vacation online is a pretty straightforward process, pretty easy thing to do. But my frustration came when it was actually time to book and pay for the vacation and the lack of payment options that were available to me at the checkout. So that prompted me to start TravelLater, and I quickly discovered that there are other consumers out there that thought just like I did. So as I was putting together the business, I put together a test website just to gauge the market, see if other consumers would use this as well. And I was able to send a handful of customers on vacation. And one particular customer was a lady by the name of Virginia. Now, some background on Virginia is that Virginia makes about $50,000 a year. She has a checking and savings account, and she has credit cards. But she wanted to go on vacation, and she didn't have any money saved at the time, so we made an agreement that she'd spend $200 towards her vacation every payday until her vacation plan was complete. Fast forward 5 or 6 months, Virginia was actually able to complete her plan, and her and her husband were able to take a trip to Aruba to celebrate their wedding anniversary. Upon arriving back from her vacation, Virginia sent me an email thanking me for the service, and she also admitted that without the service, her and her husband probably would have never made it to Aruba, as she admitted that she was pretty bad at budgeting and saving on her own. So Virginia is a perfect example of the type of customer that TravelLater is going to be initially targeting as we start. Other consumers that might mesh well with the TravelLater offering, for example, might be a college student looking for a tool to help budget and plan for spring break, or a young engaged couple looking for tools to help budget, plan, and pay for their future honeymoon. And the cool thing about TravelLater is that it also allows family and friends to contribute to your plan so you can reach your goals even faster. And lastly, TravelLater might be used for annual events such as birthdays or, such as in Virginia's case, wedding anniversaries. Now, there are 4 key points I want you to remember about TravelLater. First point being is that TravelLater is addressing true pain points within our consumer group. According to a recent survey completed by Expedia.com, over 50% of the survey respondents advised that they did not take a vacation due to concern over costs and lack of planning. Travelator is a product that directly addresses these pain points by offering tools to help consumers budget, plan, and pay for a vacation. Second point I'd like you to remember is that Travelator is operating within a large market. Our initial market consists of over 50 million US households. They represent over 13 billion in annual spending, and we feel there's a total addressable market of 35 million households. Now, I'll initially be targeting the underbanked consumer group. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the underbanked consumer group, they look a lot like Virginia, but they represent a third of all US households. And my thought process of initially targeting this group was not only are they large in size, but most studies show that this group is more likely to use alternative measures to reach their financial goals, so I thought they would mesh well with the Travelator offering. Third point I'd like to bring up is that Travelator has a pretty solid business model. Our business model is made up of 3 initial revenue streams. We have a book now, pay later option where a customer can put a small deposit down and pay over time. We offer vacation financing, and we also allow consumers to open a dedicated checking or savings account that can be linked back to the Travelator platform so they can manage their vacation that route. All 3 revenue streams have one goal in mind, and that's for the customer to book a vacation in which Travelator makes a commission for. So, if, for example, if Virginia and her husband decide to book another vacation with Travelator, and they decide to finance that vacation, Travelator will make $475 for that particular booking. For our first year of operations, we're able to do just over $250,000 in sales as we fine-tune our business platform and our business operations. But we're going to double our efforts each year, bringing us to $10 million in sales within the first 5 years. Fourth and final point I want you to remember is that Travelator's business model, although it is poised for growth, it's also expandable. Currently within the travel industry, we have some key partners that we work with that should get us off to a great start. For example, we work with Intuit, who runs the API platform that allows our customers to link their checking and savings accounts within our platform. Or Springleaf, who does all the servicing and underwriting for all of our vacation loans. But we feel that the platform is expandable beyond just the travel industry. Imagine a platform that can help consumers pay off credit card debt, or a budgeting platform that can help consumers budget for a large ticket item or budget for a home improvement project. So that's where Travelator might go in the future. So concluding, Travelator is a platform that's addressing true pain points within a large market with a business model that's poised for growth and that's expandable. We're raising $250,000 in seed capital to help with scaling efforts, business operations, and further platform development. Again, my name is Robert with Travelator.com. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Rob. Another great presentation. So, our final startup. By way of introduction, I want to tell you a bit of a personal story. So, health and wellness are very important to me. I try to exercise regularly and eat well, and I'm always up for any device or application that can help keep me on track. But out of all of the solutions that I've tried, nothing has satisfied my desire for a holistic view of my nutrition and my health and wellness. For those of you that feel similarly, and I can see many of you out there who I know feel similarly because we've had this discussion, I urge you to pay attention because our next entrepreneur has a solution for you. Vivek Narayan was a physician who was tired with one-dimensional nutritional solutions. Instead, he decided to couple his medical expertise with deep consumer and market insights to create a consumer-friendly solution for personalized and nuanced nutrition. The days of counting calories or fat are over. Now all you need is our next startup, Gourmandji. Vivek?
Thanks, Jen, for the introduction. By the way, all of you in the audience's future entrepreneurs, Charles and Jen run a bang-on accelerator, so I would apply next year. Good morning. Oops, no. It's good evening. My name is Dr. Vivek Narayan. I'm the founder and CEO of Gourmandji, the food decision-making engine. The food we eat makes us unwell. If you look around this theater, 2 out of the 3 of us will be either overweight, or obese in our lifetimes, and at least 1 in 3 of us will have a chronic illness associated with the bad food that we eat. Chronic disease and metabolic syndrome are ruining the lives of our loved ones and bankrupting our healthcare system. Along with modern lifestyles, these diseases are caused by the poor food we eat. Each food decision over time leads us towards ill health and metabolic syndrome. Why do we eat poorly? We eat poorly because we don't know what healthy food is. Ask yourself, is healthy food low in calories, low in carbs, high in carbohydrates, low in salt, low sugar, high in fiber? Are you getting enough fruits and veggies, antioxidants, low fat? There's too much noise around healthy eating, and all this noise leads to complicated decision-making. What if I told you that counting calories has no correlation to the way your body metabolizes food? It has no correlation to the way food should nourish your body. And it's clear we don't use nutrition labels to make decisions. We simply don't process information like this. At Gourmandji, we asked ourselves, how can we give individuals the information they need to make simple and healthy food decisions? Can we create a system that exemplifies the nourishing effect of food on the human body? Our response was to create the balanced nutrition ratio. Our algorithm allows us to understand individual food requirements, allows us to understand what's missing, but more importantly, allows us to balance food choices over time. We simply remove the bad things out and add the good things in. The balanced nutrition ratio is the ideal ratio of macro and micronutrients which are customized to the amount or the number of meals that you want to have. Or if you're like LeBron right now, trying to figure out the exact proportion of carbohydrates to fats and proteins, well, Gourmandji can help you with that. Imagine being able to go to the grocery store, select the foods you like to eat, while we automatically readjust portions and ingredients so that your nutritional requirements are met in real time. But more importantly, with Gourmandji, the same information that you use to decide what to eat is the same information that is relevant to your healthcare provider. It is the same information that is relevant to preventing ill health, and it is the same information that will tell you the effect food has on your body. Our vision for quantified health is to empower you with the tools you need to manage your own well-being. Your health is what is truly important to Gourmandji. So how does this work? Well, imagine yourself to be a newly minted MBA, thinking that you eat rather healthily and wanting to be productive during the day as I was in 2011. I thought that cereal, a banana, and orange juice would be a good breakfast, but you'd be surprised you're still missing essential micronutrients and not getting enough protein and fiber. If you were to select these foods in our meal maker, Gourmandji would recognize what's missing, suggest alternatives, and make up for the missing nutrients. So for example, in this case, it would suggest perhaps you should add some dried fruits, some berries, maybe some nuts into that cereal. Perhaps switch out the cereal with granola. Our meal maker is targeted at the 8 million users who prefer Gourmandji over any other nutrition management system out there. These individuals do not want to count calories. These extrapolated numbers are of users who are willing to subscribe to Gourmandji for a monthly fee. These are the people who will define what it is to be healthy moving forward, making the right food decisions. They like the fact that we can remind them when to eat food, redeem their poor eating choices, and recommend what is truly healthy food. In the fall, we have a pilot program with an insurance reseller focused on corporate wellness, and we received a lot of interest from a wide range of people interested in the application of the BNR, from online chefs looking to create healthy recipes for their users, from county officials looking to give the elderly the best tools to manage their disease states, from the next generation of medtech device creators, looking to correlate healthy eating with metabolic states. Our team of physicians, developers, and market experts are passionate about creating tools that will simplify the food decisions you make in the future. And we are dedicated to improving the health of everyone around us. With the right type of support, partners and capital. We break even in about 18 months and are actively looking for collaborators. So if you're a hospital, an insurance provider, a grocery store, a device manufacturer, or a wellness officer, or just someone interested in nutrition, we want to work with you. Visit our booth for more information. If you think you know what healthy food is, come, take the Gourmandji Food Challenge. My name is Dr. Vivek Narayan, and we are Gourmandji. We are the future of healthy food. Thank you.
Thanks, Vivek. A couple things before we conclude here. The first thing is there's a 13th company up on stage. And that company's a year and a half old, and it's called Flash Starts. And we have our own vision and our own journey. And I want to issue a challenge, and then, well, first, before I issue the challenge, so you have three ways you can invest either your time and money in the teams that you saw up here on stage. You can invest in the teams individually. You can invest in real estate through the Vestor project, or you can invest in the Flash Starts Fund, and we'll spread your investment across all 12 teams. So those are your three primary investment opportunities from a dollar standpoint. You can also invest your personal capital for the teams that you thought share a vision with you, and tweet, and go on Pinterest and Facebook, and promote what they're offering, or refer them to potential customers. There's lots of different ways to contribute. Now, the second piece that I want to touch on real briefly is issue a challenge to the entire community. Cleveland's, I get this question a lot because I'm old. You know, what's it different now than it was 30 years ago? Well, you know, I don't remember. But anyway, I'm going to pretend I do. So 30 years ago, I would be standing on this stage, there'd be no microphone, no computer, and nobody in the audience, and I would be talking to a crowd, an empty crowd. That's no longer true. We can get 300 people in a room like this. There are organizations like Flash Starts, other accelerators like Bisdom and Launch House, TechPint, another great organization, Jumpstart. Jen mentioned the 50,000 graduating students in our region every single year, the ultimate infinitely renewable resource. Cleveland Clinic, University Hospitals, the MedMart, oh, I'm sorry, not the MedMart. It's the Global Center for Health Innovation, or as I like to call it, GECI. Whatever. Anyway, it's another story. In addition, we have the Cleveland Foundation, the Brittany Morgan Foundation, all sorts of organizations and institutions that are actively promoting entrepreneurship in this region. And my challenge to you, everyone in the audience, and to all of those organizations is let us have a focus. Let us have a galvanizing moment. Let us come together like Cincinnati has done with their Centrifuge $51 million venture fund to galvanize entrepreneurship in Cincinnati. Or Columbus has done with the help of the state government and put together a $300 million venture fund just in the city of Columbus. Cleveland can do that and do it better, differently, but better. And I want to challenge each and every one of you to come together as a community and put together an innovative, creative package where we can actually drive economic development. Because as has been mentioned before, all new net jobs that have come in the US economy over the last 15 years have come from startups. Mature companies don't create jobs any faster than they let people go. Net new jobs, major existing mature companies, 0 in the last 15 years. All job growth has come from startups. If we want to build this city and continue the momentum we have, whether it's on the sports fields or startups or downtown development, now is the time. This is an opportunity that will not stay around. And if we want to keep this rock moving up the hill, it's time for everybody to start pushing a little bit. So that's my challenge to everyone in this room and everyone in this city. Now I can back off a little. And I'd like to bring Jennifer out and Jody Marshowitz. Jody gets special recognition because we mentioned our intern program a whole bunch of times. And she's the reason the intern program has been so superb. She's also the reason that all the entrepreneurs got up here on time. So as kind of the queen of the cat herd, both entrepreneurs and interns, I'd like to thank you very much for the excellent work done. And so we have we have lots of food and a bar in the back, and all 13 of the teams are there. Plus, we have a special appearance by the 14th team, which is from last year's accelerator class, Crowdentials. And they're there for a very specific reason. We talked about general solicitation and the ability to publicly say, we're soliciting investment for the first time since 1930. Crowdentials does accreditation of investors. And they're there offering their service for free for the next hour. And you can, if you want to become a certified accredited investor, they have a booth right next to ours. So with that, I think I've covered everything. Thank you all again for coming, and don't forget the challenge. Thanks.